Hello class, welcome to our last video about rates and unit rates. Please make sure you're taking good notes. So speed. Find the speed or rate of travel of a moving object. This is the formula for speed. Please make sure you write it down in your notebook. Speed equals distance divided by time. This is a universal formula for speed. Okay? Here is an example. So Daryl rode from town A to town B. In 1 hour, he rode 40 miles. Gavin also drove in the same direction. In 1 hour, he drove 50 miles. So Daryl drove at a speed of 40 miles per hour, whereas Gavin drove at a speed of 50 miles per hour. And that is the speed that they went. Okay, so let's look at another problem. On a bicycle, Jack can travel 20 miles in 4 hours. So our unit rate, or our rate, is 20 miles per 4 hours. And so our unit rate, we can divide them both by 4. Our unit rate is now 5 miles in 1 hour. So Jack can travel 5 miles in 1 hour, written as 5 miles per 1 hour. And it takes 1/5 of an hour to travel each mile. And we can write it like this: 1/5 of an hour per each mile. That's how far he can travel per mile, right? So you can represent it both ways. Both ways are correct. So if you write it like this, 5 miles per hour, or 1/5 of an hour per mile, you can write it both ways, okay? Let's try another. So, Mr. Anthony drives his truck at a speed of 45 kilometers per hour. At this speed, how far does he travel in 2 hours? Well, we can make an equivalent rate. So 45 kilometers, or km, per hour. So for 1 hour, right? So at the speed, how far does he travel in 2 hours? So if he was driving for 2 hours, we multiply by 2, and so this is 90 kilometers. So he drives 90 kilometers in 2 hours. So in 1 hour, Mr. Anthony travels 45 kilometers. In 2 hours, Mr. Anthony drives, and they multiplied, and they got 90 kilometers, which is correct. Okay? And then it says, at this speed, how far does he travel in 5 hours? Well, they say in 5 hours, Mr. Anthony travels the speed times the time equals the distance. Okay, so before we said that speed equals distance, right, over time. We just moved things around, and so this is also true. Distance equals speed times time. This is also true. Make sure you write it down. So find the distance and speed. Find the time, given the distance and speed. So there's 2 ways to do this. And so here's method 1 and here's method 2. We're going to be talking about both of them today. So Lucas ran round a field at a speed of 8 meters per second. So his speed was 8 meters per second. So how long did it take to run a distance of 96 meters? Well, we can make an equivalent rate. So if this is 96 meters, how long did it take him? Well, to get from 8 to 96, we know we multiply by 12. And so if that is true, 1 times 12, it took him 12 seconds to run a distance of 96 meters. Okay, that is the first way to do it. The second way to do it is we can use this formula of time equals distance divided by speed. And so we can look and see what they did, if you remember formulas. So it's 96 divided by 8, and that equals 12. So that works also. Okay, let's try another. So if you're running at a constant speed, here, a runner ran 20 miles in 150 minutes. And please make sure you pause and copy this all down. Here are a couple questions. How long would it take her to run 6 miles? How far could she run in 15 minutes? How fast is she running per hour? What is her pace in minutes per mile? And here we have a data table, so you should also have this in your notebook. And now I'm going to be checking it on Thursday. So here's our number of minutes, and so we created a data table with number of minutes and number of miles. And so we want to know how long it would take to run 6 miles. Well, how long does it take to run 1 mile first? So let's create an equivalent ratio or an equivalent fraction. So if we divide by 20, we want to know how long it would take to run 1 mile, and that'll help us figure out how long it'll take to run 6 miles. So if we divide by 20, right, because going from 20 to 1, we divide by 20, 150 divided by 20, we should have a decimal. And that will be 150 divided by 20. 20 does not go into 15, so we leave that blank. 20 goes into 150, I believe, 6 times. 20 times 6 is 120. Oh, we need one more, so 7. So 20 times 7 is 140, and so this should be a 7, sorry. This is a 7. We bring up our decimal, we subtract, we have 140. This is 10, we bring down our 0, and 20 goes into 105 times. So this is 7 and 5/10, or 7.5. Okay, that's how long it takes her to run 1 mile. So, how far can she run, or how long would it take her to run 6 miles? Let's answer that first question first. So 6 miles, we would need to multiply this by 6. So let's do our math over here. 7.5, or 7 and 5/10 times 6. This gives us 30. This gives us 45. We move our decimal. We have 1 decimal place, so it should be here. Okay, so it takes her 45 minutes. So this should be 45 minutes. How far could she run in 15 minutes? So if this was a 15, I believe 7.5 times 2, 7.5 times 2 should be 15. And let's see if that's correct. Yes, 14 plus 1 is 15. So this should be a 2. She can run 2 miles. This is 2 miles. And this was 45 minutes, right? So how fast is she running per hour? Well, she is running at a speed, let's see. How fast is she running per hour? So we need to make this the number of minutes. We know that there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. So if this was a 60, how many miles did she go? So we need to divide. So 60, and we're going to need a decimal, divided by 7.5. We'll have to move this over 1, and we move this over 1. Bring the upper decimal. 75 does not go into 60, so we have to leave that alone. 75, let's try times 7. Let's see what we get. So that's 35. This is 49 plus 3 is 52. Is that close enough? I think we can go one more. So 75 times 8. Let's see what we get. This 5 times 8 is 40. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 4 is 60, and that is 600. So 75 goes into 608 times evenly. Okay, so this is 8 then. So she is running at a pace of 8 miles per hour. So 8 miles per hour. Or you could write out the word too. This is okay. So then what is her pace in minutes per mile? Minutes per mile, she is going at a rate of 7.5, or sorry, minutes per mile. Let's see. That is correct. So it takes her 7.5 minutes per mile. So she's going at a rate of 7.5. I'm going to write mins per mile. Okay, and that's how we solve that. Make sure you have this written down in your notebook. Here's the first homework. You need to find the unit rate of these 4 items. Okay, the second one is here. It says homework number 2. Please make sure you copy down the problem and answer. Here's homework number 3. And here's homework number 4. And I will see you tomorrow.